Imagine your deepest, most cherished wish comes true. But just 1 hour later, you realize it will destroy you and everything you love. This is the story of King Midas, the man who turned the whole world to gold and nearly suffocated in its cold, gleaming shine. Today, let's step into the deep vaults of his palace and discover the terrible price he paid for his greed. Many centuries ago, in the beautiful kingdom of Phrygia, there ruled a man whose name became a symbol of unimaginable wealth. But long before he became a legend, Midas was just a simple baby, already surrounded by signs of destiny. They say that while he slept in his cradle, ants carried grains of wheat into his tiny mouth. The priests saw it as a prophecy, a life overflowing with abundance. He grew up surrounded by luxury, the son of the great Gordius and the goddess Cybele. All his life, he devoted himself to multiplying what he already had. But Midas had one fatal weakness. He never felt he had enough gold. He locked himself in the underground chambers, counting bars and coins, while his queen sadly reminded him, happiness cannot be bought. Everything changed on one warm day in his famous rose gardens.
His servants found a strange guest there, an old satyr named Silenus, dead drunk, lost while following the god of wine, Dionysus. Any other king might have driven the vagabond away, but Midas, recognizing the teacher of the god, showed true hospitality. For 10 days and 10 nights, the palace rang with feasts. Midas treated Silenus to the finest foods, and on the 11th morning, he personally led him back to Dionysus. The grateful god, touched by the king's kindness, promised to grant any wish. Midas didn't hesitate. His eyes lit up with that greedy sparkle that blinds the mind. He asked, "Let everything I touch turn to pure, shining gold." Dionysus, sensing disaster, asked, "Are you sure?" But Midas just nodded. The wish was granted. At first, it felt like the greatest victory in human history. Midas walked through his lands, touching an oak branch, and it grew heavy with gold. He picked up a stone, and it became a golden nugget. The palace walls, the statues, even the flowers in the garden, everything under his fingers burst into sunlight.
He ran through the corridors, laughing with delight, until he felt tired and hungry. That's when the triumph turned into a nightmare. He sat down at the table, loaded with delicacies. He reached for a piece of soft white bread, but the moment his lips touched it, it turned into hard, cold metal. He tried to bite into juicy grapes, but nearly broke his teeth on golden pellets. Even wine and water, as soon as they touched his mouth, became liquid gold, impossible to swallow. But the real tragedy was still ahead. Hearing her father's cry, his beloved daughter ran into the room. She was his only true treasure, the one thing he valued more than gold. In despair, Midas forgot his curse and embraced her. In his arms remained only a motionless, cold, golden statue. At that moment, Midas understood the horrible truth. His greed had made him the master of a dead world. He fell to his knees, begging Dionysus to take back the terrible gift that had become his death sentence. The god took pity on the repentant king. He told him, "Go to the source of the river Pactolus and wash your hands in its waters." When Midas plunged into the current, the golden power left his body forever, dyeing the river's sands with eternal golden shine. Midas returned home, trembling, and saw with joy how his daughter breathed again, and the bread on the table remained simple bread. It seemed the lesson was learned. But Midas's nature was too changeable. Later, tired of the city noise and the glare of riches, he retreated to the forests, becoming a follower of the shepherd god Pan. But even there, his foolishness found a way out. When Pan decided to compete in music with Apollo himself, the god of light and arts, Midas was the only one bold enough to declare that Pan's simple reed flute sounded better than Apollo's divine lyre. Enraged, the god of light exclaimed, "A man with such poor taste should have ears to match." And in that instant, Midas's ears stretched, covered with grey fur, and became donkey ears, an eternal mark of his stupidity.
The humiliated king hid his shame under a tall tiara. No one knew his secret except one man, his personal barber. The barber swore to keep silent under pain of death, but the burden of the secret was too heavy. Unable to bear it any longer, he went far outside the city, dug a small hole in the ground, and whispered into it, "King Midas has donkey ears." He buried the hole, hoping the secret was gone forever. But on that spot, thick reeds grew, and every time the Phrygian wind blew, the leaves rustled across the land. "King Midas has donkey ears. King Midas has donkey ears." So the truth always comes out, even when whispered into the earth. And the moral is as old as time itself. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not every gift is a blessing. Sometimes the most precious things are the ones you cannot buy and cannot turn to metal. The warmth of loved ones, a simple piece of bread, the ability to hear music, and to enjoy life just as it is.